All right, George, the excuses, are you ready for them?
Let's get to them. We've kind of compiled the top ones that we've heard over the years.
We hear them a lot, whether it's the Ramsey show, talking to people out and about, social media. We get them all.
You know what's fun? If you have one that's not on this list, leave it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube.
Maybe we'll debunk it in a future episode.
That'll be fun. But here's the top ones.
All right. I am self-employed. I have fluctuating income or get paid multiple times a month. So I can't budget.
What's the truth here, Rachel?
The truth is, yes, you can budget. And again, your numbers will probably look a little different. And that's how we are. I'm on commission for my life. And so is my husband. He's doing real estate stuff. So it's every month looks different. And you don't quite know exactly until you get your paycheck. So what we do is a guesstimate. So at the beginning of the month, we put in, here's how much I think I'm going to make. And I usually do like a lower amount, I'll be honest, just to kind of give us some breathing room. And then he gives his number. And then we budget from there. And then again, if the paycheck hits and it's better, that's great. We'll probably just put more in savings or roll it over to the next month. But if it's less, then we do know, okay, we got to cut some stuff. So again, you're a little bit more of the flexibility aspect of this because you're kind of guessing ahead of time. But that still doesn't mean that you don't plan. Like, at least you're going to be making something.
Very few people are going to make $0.
Yeah, and even if you are, because you're a freelancer and you're like, I took no jobs this month, then you know that. So then you're going to have to pull money from savings, but you're still going to have to pay for food and all that. So go ahead and budget out and have a plan. So regardless of what's going on, you can still budget.
Yeah, for those that have that irregular income, we call it a prioritized spending plan. So I got to make sure the food is on the table, the lights stay on, the rent is paid, the mortgage is paid. Then you can kind of go down the list and say, okay, insurance needs to get paid, gas needs to get covered. Everything beyond that sort of becomes like, if there's more money, we'll get to this.
That's right.
If there's more money, we'll get to this. So I think a budget is even more important for those that don't have a stable fixed income.
That's right. And again, it's going to change maybe throughout the month, depending on what actually hits your account, but you still plan for it. Still very important.
Excuse debunked.
All right. Number 2, George. I don't have time to budget and it takes too much effort.
Aww.
Oh my gosh. I'm so busy.
How do you have time to leave that in the YouTube comment section? It's amazing how that works. I'm kidding. But no, this is one we get often. People think in their mind, it's going to take me hours because I'm going to have to open some spreadsheet and it's going to take so much brain power and math. Maybe back in the day, but nowadays, you just use the EveryDollar app and it does all the math for you. It's on your smartphone. Your spouse can be logged in. You both have access to it. And it doesn't take much time once you get it off the ground.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's going to, like anything that you're starting out, there will be a level of like, hey, let's set aside an hour and I'm going to look through the last, month or two of our accounts just to see how much did we spend on average each month on food, on groceries, out to eat, miscellaneous stuff, maybe stuff with the kids, stuff for the house, like all these different categories, insurance that you pay out. You do have to look back and kind of get an idea of what you were spending. And I always tell people, go ahead and just put those numbers down on your current budget, but knowing that those were numbers that you have without a budget, meaning you can probably, when you have a plan, some of those categories can lower, especially things like food that you're just kind of going for, right?
Yes. It doesn't take that much time, really, once you have it going.
Yeah, and EveryDollar copies your budget month to month, which I love because you'll get it and then you'll delete some categories that was just for that previous
Maybe
month
add some.
that you don't need. Yes, you'll probably add things. So again, it's an ongoing fluid thing, but it does not take that long. In tracking transactions, I can do like 20 transactions, I bet you, in 4 minutes.
Dang, that's what's up.
I'm quick.
Well, and EveryDollar makes it easy. Like we've got the premium version and you just literally the transactions show up and you just drag them to the right category.
Yep,
and there's
fantastic.
even some auto tracking where it goes, hey, this is probably groceries. You good with that? And you go, yep, tap, done.
All right, next, my spouse handles our finances and I can't convince them to care enough about budgeting.
Ooh, this is one that I have the most empathy for because it's frustrating and difficult to handle the money by yourself. Because the other spouse doesn't want to, doesn't know how to, isn't, quote, into it. We've heard all of the reasons. So if you have no control over your money, like there's an even bigger issue here when you're not aligned with your spouse when it comes to your goals, what's happening month to month, and you get resentful if you carry that for too long.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what you value, and you obviously care about this issue for a reason. And if your spouse doesn't have any level of interest or concern or willingness to
or visibility
or to go with you on that subject, then that's where we always kind of wave that red flag. And we're like, okay, there's probably more of a marriage issue going on than just money, right? And so I think it really is important to understand that it's more than just money. And you may be the one that loves to budget, right? And that's actually Winston in our marriage. So there's always going to be one that's more detail oriented, one that's going to love it more. But if they just are so dismissive of it and like won't budge at all with money, the truth is we're grown-ups here. We have to handle money. And if you do not feel secure or good or confident in what's going on, that's going to create fear and anxiety. And again, if your spouse can't reciprocate and like have a conversation around that and understands, and then that's a marriage thing. Like,
well, it's usually a symptom of something deeper. There's some like stuff they grew up with, or something that happened in their past, or there's some shame, guilt, baggage, spending addictions that they don't want to deal with. So they go, ugh, nope, not touching that. So you got to have a hard conversation and have a kind of come to Jesus conversation and really share your feelings and get on the same page.
They may not like pop champagne every time you do a budget. Like they may not just be thrilled, but it's the idea that, I'm going to work with you as a team in our life, and money is included in that.
Same reason we shower. We need some financial hygiene regularly, Rachel.
Okay. Thank you both. Thank you.
Shout out to those who don't shower. That's just a personal dig.
All right, next. The percentages confuse me. What if I can't save 10% every month like all budget methods tell me to do?
I think percentages is what really hurt people when it came to budgeting. They go, well, just tell me what I need to spend. And they go, well, I can't do that. And so we don't really subscribe to this percentage model of you have to split everything evenly into these categories because everyone's in different seasons.
Yep, absolutely.
If you're in debt, it looks different than if you have zero debt.
Yeah, it's more about your priorities around money. So if you have debt, your priority should be getting out of debt. So all of your focus and extra margin and all of it should be going towards that, not splitting it up and like, 50, 20, 30, you know what I mean? So it's, we're more focused on the individual when it comes to personal finance than just this like system. So that's why the zero-based budget is great, because you are accounting for every dollar in your paycheck, which is very important, but it's going towards the things that you need it to go to, whether it's an emergency fund, getting out of debt, or what you need it for.
Well, and we do have two parameters that include percentages. Number one is it's wise to have no more than 25% of your take-home pay going toward your rent or mortgage. That's not a like fundamentalist, like you have to, it helps you to hit your other goals if your mortgage isn't 60% of your take-home pay. And the other one is giving. We think it's wise. We put giving at the top of the budget, 10% if you're, a person of faith, you're a believer, 10% to your local church. And so giving is an important part of the budget too.
Yeah. And always give a little until you can give a lot, right? I mean, again, we're not legalistic about these and it's like this hardcore thing, but it's just a guideline. And again, it's kind of showing you, hey, here's some things to put into place that's going to help you with your money long term, which is key. Okay.
Here's a common one, Rachel. I can't budget because I make enough that I don't need to. Have you heard that one? Well, I make too much. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I have heard that
What's funny is that I also hear people go, I don't make enough to do a budget. So I'm like, so tell me where this magical sweet spot is of the middle class people who need to make a budget and no one else matters.
That's right.
That's crazy.
Yep. I mean, on either end of the spectrum, again, a budget is just a plan for your money. That's what it is. So,
however little or however much it is.
Yeah, if you're not making a ton right now, then you need to budget so that you know, hey, my necessities are covered. You have a plan. You feel in control. And then when you make a lot, it's amazing how much you can just spend when you don't have a plan. And again, we're okay with spending, but it's just doing it on purpose. And I do think once you're on baby step 7,
so it means no mortgage payment, no debt at all.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I think there's a level you can be a little bit more lax with it. Like it's fine if you want bigger categories or not. But the idea that you just don't plan for anything with your money is very unwise.
There was one other thing I want to mention with this one.
Sharks.
Lifestyle creep. So people think, well, if I just make more money, then my life problems will be solved. Or, you know what? I do well, Rachel. I'm fine. I can out-earn my stupidity and my spending habits. But lifestyle creep is real. What happens is you make more and you just spend more. So you don't actually get any closer to reaching your goals, paying off debt, investing for the future. So that's where a budget's so important. Even if you get a bonus or a raise, what are you doing with that? Because if you don't make a plan on paper, it's going to disappear into some frivolous spending.
Amen, Brother George.
That's what I'll say about that.
Amen.
Okay, what's the next excuse?
What about fun money? Whenever I get intentional with my money, there's none left for me.
Oh.
Okay, this is why we budget.
This is for the Enneagram 7s who go, wait, budgets are like for people who don't want to have fun.
Yeah, No, and you can still have fun, but you got to budget for it. Which sounds so like
budget for fun.
Mm-hmm. But I think having, have a fun category in your budget. Your budget's yours. You can put whatever you want in it. So maybe it's like, I don't know,
So if you want some money for you,
Vince,
put that in there.
yeah.
Rachel's fun money.
That's right. Just throw it in the budget and plan for it.
And it's not penny pinching. People think, well, Rachel's going to get $4 to spend. You could put $500 in fun money if that's your life.
You're an adult. That you get to decide.
You get to decide what makes sense.
Amazing.
Because people always ask us, well, how much should I put? Well, if you're in debt, you want to limit it as much as possible. But if you have no mortgage payment and you make good money and you're hitting your goals.
Consumer debt free, but you have an emergency fund, you can loosen it up even more there, right? I mean, there's certain parts of this money plan.
Get the mani-pedi. You do you.
You can enjoy it. You just enjoy it. I love a Rachel category.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun in our life.
Yes.
So, and we're on a budget. So
it's great.
They're not mutually exclusive.